why is it that Gavin Newsom is the front runner to be the nominee for president in the Democratic Party? For starters, he's been running for president for over 20 years.
He was groomed for this. He was born and groomed for this.
He's Pelosi's nephew.
Through marriage, but yes. Point being, he comes from a stock of people, if you will, where this is what they're groomed for. Also, he's a good-looking guy. He's very smooth. He really gives Bill Clinton vibes, except for I don't think he's as bright as Bill Clinton. So there's that.
Well, Jen, listen, I appreciate any time you can charm my pants off, and they come off very easily. But this particular time, you really done it better. No, the fact of the matter is, he became the mayor of San Francisco. He became the governor of California. It was an inevitable trajectory. Let me tell you something. He had very, and I mean very, itchy trigger fingers to run for president in 2024. He wanted to be Biden's replacement. He wanted to get in there on short notice, and even if he lost, he would still run for president again in 28. He would already have the landscape set up for himself nationwide as the candidate. The fact of the matter is he can sell himself as a president in a way Kamala Harris never could on her best day. And so now, don't ask me why he decided to do this.
Oh, here.
There you go.
This is what we're talking about. These people are a whole different breed.
Yeah, he's a Carcetti. That's correct. So he's Italian, and he's got a lot of moolah to go with it. And he likes to.
So, do we want to? Are we gonna get into the Newsom Ben Shapiro interview? Okay, guys. So, Gavin Newsom hosted Ben Shapiro on his podcast, and I saw only pieces of it because I can't stomach Ben. Like, I kind of feel like we should just play our clip and get it over with before we even start this.
Listen, if you're even going to invoke my name, you have a lot of nerve, young lady. Okay? I am a completely masculine, charming, attractive, strong man.
You think you're better than me, Paul? You think you're hanging here all day, you're higher than me, you're better than me? Yeah, well, I don't miss you. You're not. I'm a father. I can think that you are not better than me at all. Yeah, I'll teach you.
Boy, I bet he never thought that was ever going to come out so many years later.
I want to know, and guys, please, if you know any way to get that to him, nothing would satisfy me more than knowing that he sees that we do that every time someone mentions his name 3 times on this show. But being that we're going to be talking about him, we just needed to get that over with now. But I think he manhandles Gavin Newsom, and that really does not speak well about Gavin Newsom in my mind as a contender.
No, but here's how I predict. I predict we're going to do it. So Melissa Whitty, friend of the show, is going to join me for a solo show to talk about Charlie Kirk and all the things that are with Turning Point USA. And Mel is very friendly with Candace Owens. And so I'm hoping, against all hope, that at some point the introduction can be made. Maybe Candace and I could have a conversation. And if that conversation happens, I will 1000% play that clip. And then hopefully Candace, who absolutely detests Ben Shapiro, would be so kind as to play it on a loop. And then Shapiro 1000% is going to know about it. And
I want him to know that I enjoy it as much as I do. And that all of our people, I know that our people, our regulars in our chat, they like it as much as I do. So I just want him to know how much pleasure we get from that.
What Mehdi has to understand, what I think a lot of people need to understand about politics, is that if you're doing a good job, that means you're doing a bad job for the people who are in positions of power and privilege and wealth. If he's doing a shitty job for the average person in California, that means he's doing really good for the people that have all the money and all the power.
And his donor class. That's right. So guys, what clip is this? Because I've only seen parts of this interview where Sabby showed how pathetic this is.
Well, Gavin decided to sit down with Lil Ben for a humiliation ritual. Here we go.
Have now been dragged into this conversation. Some dragged, some run with, flags waving into the conversation.
This notion of genocide.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Israel did not commit a genocide in Gaza. There's
now repeat after me. Repeat after me. Israel. Say it. Say it. Say it, Gavin. Say it. Israel. Israel did not commit a genocide.
But unfortunately, Gavin Newsom is too much of a cuck to say actually 98% of genocide scholars have agreed that that's exactly what this is. It also satisfies every legal definition of the word put by international law. So when he says not by any standard, that's just patently false. And yet Gavin Newsom just sits there and goes along with this like a fucking pussy.
That is great. Hello from the gutter. That is true. It is an anagram for Nevish. That's very good and very true.
no standard by which Israel committed a genocide in Gaza, just on a factual level.
Just as a legal and factual level.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on this?
My opinion is I understand the tendency for people to make that, to assert that.
Why?
On the basis of the images and the proportionality as it relates
doesn't mean genocide.
No. And by the way, I agree with you.
And
do you see how, but Ben Shapiro is the guest. And do you see how he has turned this show around? Gavin Newsom has lost complete control of this interview within seconds. And now he's being questioned as if he's being interrogated, really, by this peon. It's so crazy. So anybody who can be manhandled by Benny Shapiro should not be taken seriously as a contender to be president.
Well, Gavin takes himself very seriously as a contender. And again, it doesn't matter because the primary system in the Democratic Party for president of the United States is rigged. So the one thing I will give Newsom credit for, which I can't give him much credit, but I'll give him this much credit. Newsom is not pretending to be a progressive. He's not pretending that he is the man of the people. He's proving that he just wants to be president, which is fine. And
no, he's blue blood mentality. He feels he's above the peons for sure.
Well, he's a child of immense privilege. It's very hard to grow up like that and not have that terminally affect you for life. Like, how does it not? He can't see it any other way, which is going to be interesting to see what ends up happening when he is actually out on the stump in places like Iowa and New Hampshire, where he's going to have to answer real questions from people and see how that goes over. I doubt he's going to do very well. Remember, he's looking for the safest path possible. That's all he's looking for. And when he sits down with Ben Shapiro, he's doing it for one reason. He's sending a smoke signal out to every Zio donor who is really a liberal, and it's telling them, you're safe with me.
I see your perspective.
I see it. I get it. And that's enough.
Proportionality doesn't mean that if you kill my child and I then kill 7 criminals, that I've been disproportionate.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think but I understand that tendency on the basis of trying to reconcile the proportionate nature of how the war was ultimately conducted and the devastation.
I have a question. Why do you feel the need to create a permission structure for that sort of stuff? I mean, meaning
he really needs to get his teeth knocked out. Like, he really does.
I'm telling you, he's in that category.
He is such a sniveling little weasel scumbag. Like, he really is. I told you, I figured out who Ben Shapiro was. I figured it out like one of the last shows that we did. This is you know who this guy is, Jen. He's the guy in high school that basically hears that 2 guys that are like a lot tougher than he is don't like each other, and he tries to get them into a fight. Hey, did you hear what he said about you at lunch? Oh, he's talking a lot of smack about you. He's that kid. That's who he is. And he's Martin Prince. He's both. But he is a shit stirrer, again. he never maybe he got shoved into a few lockers. Maybe he had a few wedgies, few
No.
weapons. Who
Maybe.
knows?
Yeah.
But he's such a sniveling little weasel.
Yeah, he really is.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Why not just say it's not true?
Yeah, look, I don't know the definition.
Now repeat after me.
Can you
It's
let it play
not
for a bit?
true.
I don't know the legal threshold. That's not my opinion, so I don't share
What
that
is-
opinion as it
okay.
relates to genocide. I do not agree with that notion.
Right, but you do
was-
understand that if you accuse Israel of committing a genocide, that now puts Israel in the position of it should be a pariah state, because states that commit genocide should be pariah states.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Oh, please don't threaten us with a good time, Benny boy.
granting legitimacy to that position inherently.
I'm not granting
delegitimize-
legitimacy. I'm just saying the devastation in Gaza at the human level. You've got four
Of
kids.
course, it's terrible.
No, but I think it's also important to absorb that a little bit more. Just as it was sick, and we were clear in our condemnation, these people like me, as it relates to what Hamas did in that act of barbarism and terrorism.
Yeah, but there's
that
a
was
difference
crystal
between
clear. That's a
deliberate
red line.
terrorism and wartime collateral damage, of course. And if we refuse to acknowledge that reality, then we end up
The
equating
collateral
terrorist
damage.
groups with legitimate
I have stronger opinions. It wasn't just collateral.
Really? You think that Israel is targeting civilians?
Yes. I think Israel lives to target civilians. In fact, I don't think Israel has the set to target anybody that isn't civilians.
I think the callous nature within which he talks about civilian casualties also shows he wears his supremacy on his sleeve. Like he wears it.
Oh, no, there's no secret. He truly feels superior. He doesn't see Palestinians as real people. Absolutely not.
No. And then you think about the two Israelis or two Zionists that were shot down in Washington, D.C., and he wanted the entire world to stop when that happened. But when we talk about Gaza or we talk about the West Bank, he makes it clear that this is a means to an end. Greater Israel, no matter how much bloodshed must be had, is the end all be all as far as he's concerned.
Yes, that's what they're working for.
But perhaps maybe more disturbing than anything else is that their pride will be greatest before the fall, because they truly do not understand how much the world hates their guts and how much.
No, they do. They just don't care. And they don't see that the inevitable conclusion is their demise. They somehow think they're going to triumph it, and they don't care that they're hated. Whereas we see it as it's their end.
It is. Guys, if you haven't smashed that like button, please make sure that you do. And please make sure that you share the stream if you would be so kind. Let's keep this going. Here we go.
think some of the double tapping issues, I have a lot of issues with how Bibi ultimately conducted the war. I personally do. And I have a lot of issues that are also painted on the basis of the conversation I had with a few weeks later after October 7th, the way he talked about the Palestinians. I kept talking about Hamas. He kept talking about the Palestinians. I kept coming back to Hamas. And then ultimately how the war was conducted. Not saying it was a genocide. I'm not. But I have issues.
What is
with
the thing that he said that you particularly?
There was a dehumanization. I didn't like the way he talked about the Palestinian people. I just didn't.
What is the specific? thing
They
that he
can't
said?
govern. I didn't. The specific. I don't want to get into the details.
The
of the
reason I'm
conversation
asking
with
is
the Prime
because
Minister.
when you suggest that he is conflating Hamas and the Palestinians,
He wasn't
then of course
conflating,
it does lead to the conclusion.
They
that
were
you
different.
seem
It
to be
wasn't.
avoiding.
No. It was. I'm just saying the way he ultimately conducted it. I look back at that conversation. I reflect on that conversation. It doesn't surprise me, and I did not think it was proportionate.
Okay,
and I thought it was overwhelming, and the devastation and destruction breaks my heart.
Okay, so you're president of the United States. Somebody invades from Mexico. They take several thousand American citizens.
I get it.
Hostage.
By the way,
They hold them all the way until the end of the war. Until the end of the war, their hostages being held.
don't get me wrong on any of this. I'm with.
War.
That's how war works, Ben. That's how it works. Oh my God.
The war is over. When did the war end? When did it end? They're still mass killing Palestinians, but it was never a war.
No, well, and the fact that Gavin Newsom has been going along with that narrative in this interview is very telling. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to act like he's got sympathy for the Palestinians, that he sees their plight, while also appealing and not trying to upset Ben Shapiro and make him feel like he gets what he's saying too. That doesn't work. There's no middle ground.
View in terms of the ultimate accountability and bringing the hostages home. I like the clarity and conviction as it relates to getting all the hostages dead and alive home, and all of that. I'm not denying that.
And by the way, Hamas still has not been extirpated in the areas where Israel has left them alone.
And clearly this truce and détente is still a work in progress. There's been a lot of destruction.
Well, because Hamas.
No, that's because Israel keeps mass killing because there is no intention of stopping what they're doing. As you said, 3 days after the attack, 3 days, October 10th, 2023, and we have the clip still up on TikTok to prove it. You don't see any scenario where there's less than 2 million people dead in the desert.
No.
And
this was always ending that way. This was always going to end that way.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be disarmed, and
yeah.
they didn't.
Look, I'm crystal clear about Hamas.
But the point is that
crystal clear about Hamas.
Right, but the point is that I think,
and I'm also crystal clear my love for Israel and my condemnation of Bibi. And there's a distinction. I condemn Donald Trump. I love my country.
Yes, walk that fine line. Dance, you fucker, dance. He's like dancing, doing a little dance.
Dance.
If you get manhandled at your own interview by the interviewee who's that guy, you are not qualified to be the president of this country.